Sparrow. I think the same thing that I told Alicia. So both I think both you and Alicia um, have a similar thing in that you can do the informational interviews. But I think the biggest part is it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it sounds like some of the objections are the fact that you've been a consultant for a long time, and so folks are just like, hey, how do we know you're not going to go?
Yeah, I feel like I get told more often than not that like I seem overqualified for positions that I look at and go, I would have no idea what I was doing on day one in this job, but like would figure it out. But I just so much of my work has been more unstructured, more kind of like we're building something out of nothing. So like the processes and everything that are in place in larger corporations, and that like the way that it's talked about in this course,
Mm-hmm.
is something that I was much less familiar with. So I think that this kind of gives me a better idea of if I took one of those jobs, what it would look like on a day to day. And maybe also how to reframe the work that I've done, so that it fits with sort of the schema that they're looking for.
Then I think informational interviews would be a good thing for you because you want to know what a day in the life is like at those companies, right? And then you want to be able. And the biggest thing is you see people say, "How do we know you're not going to leave?" Because they're like, she's too good. This is too good to be true." But when you do the informational interviews and people see your smile and they see your face, you got a lot of energy, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, but she's great. I think she would work out." They're going to give you the shot anyways. So that's one of the things that you can do, and it's twofold. It'll give you information about what a day in the life of a person in that role would look like, and then it gives them the opportunity to understand who you are and help get over that hump of the fear of if you're going to go. But always turn it back to them. Let me ask you this: why are you looking for something? Why don't you want to stay as a consultant?
Well, really, just because the work that I've done, I kind of fell into consulting when I was applying for positions, and I would go to companies and they would come back and say, we can't afford to hire you full time in this role. Like, we think you're overqualified, but we would be interested in using you as a consultant. And so I really think that it's, because partly because my qualifications have been more broad,
Mm-hmm.
versus like, when they talk about the T-shaped, it's like I'm like I'm just the top mostly of the T. Like it's more broad and less specific to just project management. It's like I said, it's fulfilling a multiple roles. And if I mean, honestly, like I feel like I have an inordinate amount of time that I'm not getting paid because I'm trying to convince clients to work with me or find new clients that are interested. And then every new client I work with, it's always new. It's always like, it's not like I have a product that I can just um, sell it to one person after another. Each person I've worked with, their situation has been really specific to what their resources are, what they're able to do, and everything. So it's always building from scratch. And I don't have a team, so I'm always having to bring the team in. So I honestly, I feel like I just work too hard for what I think it pays well, but I don't think that it pays comparable to the amount of work I actually have to do. Um, and so, I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's the
Okay.
right answer. I
Well,
definitely wouldn't
well,
say that in a job interview, but I just want an easier job than
there's no wrong
having
answer.
to,
There's no
build it
wrong
from
answer.
scratch every time.
There's no wrong answer. Here's what you tell them. Here's the things that I heard. Um, so how do we know that you're not gonna go back to the consulting world? Well, for one, I one of the things you can always say is like I don't want to travel anymore. I don't want to have to work long hours. Even if you weren't traveling, working long hours, that's what we assume consultants do. That's the first thing you just say. Like, I'm looking and I'm here. I'm looking for a different lifestyle. I'm slowing down. But, for me, I find myself always in these positions where I'm constantly switching teams. I'm constantly building something new and then I'm handing it off. And I really want the opportunity to see what would it be like if I were to be able to maintain this and do this year after year after year and improve upon a product? And so I'm looking for a new challenge, and I'm looking to really see what I can do given some continuity. And I'm hoping that you guys have the right environment, that your folks stay for a long time, so that as long as I'm going to be here for 5, 10 years, your folks are going to be here with me, and together we're going to do something great. So subliminally, you already put it in their head. Oh, she's going to be here for 5 to 10 years because you said it, right? So
Hmm.
just that's kind of like that. That's kind of the route that you want to take. Like, hey, I want a team. I don't want to keep building from scratch, and I'm just looking for a company that makes sure that their people don't leave, because I intend to be somewhere for 5 to 10 years, if not longer, and I want to make sure your people are going to be here too. And that's why I'm here on this interview. You have to let them know, like, I'm interviewing you as well as you're interviewing me. That's the big piece, right? So
Yeah.
also, when I told you earlier, which is like, hey, can I talk to some of your people? Always throw that back to them. What is it like working here? Always throw it back to them. And I think I have some resources on some interviewing resources. Shoot me an email so I remember, because I'm taking off right now. After this, I'm actually leaving to go train. I outside of managing projects and consulting with companies, I box. So it's kind of crazy. I have a fight in Atlanta on Saturday, so I have to go for my last day of training today, and so I'm immediately leaving here. So I might get hit in the head a couple times and forget everything. So shoot me an email, and I will send you that information back.